me in the study that they did in Boku. Well, this afternoon, we're going into the opening ceremony. As I said earlier today, the digital future of this continent is not going to be imported. It will be built by Africans. And it starts with conversations like what we're having here today. And so I would urge you to banish the idea that you're at another talk shop if that's what you thought. We're here to find new ways to chart the right path to ensure data sovereignty among the 54 states of Africa as we implement Agenda 2063, as the AFCFTA takes shape. It's imperative on us to put our best foot forward. To usher us into the second half, help me welcome the board chair of the Africa Digital Rights Hub, Dr. Philomena. Oh, sorry. I apologize. The board chair, we welcome Professor Justice Databa.
Good afternoon. Honorable Minister of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, members of the Diplomatic Corps, data protection authorities, distinguished partners, esteemed invited guests, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to consider this a flashback in the film of this conference. This should have happened at the beginning, but it's best done during the conference. I'd like, on behalf of the Africa Digital Rights Hub, to warmly welcome you to the 8th edition of the Data Protection Africa Summit. And thank you for taking time out of your schedules to join us again this year. We are indeed honored to have participants from across the continent and around the world, including policymakers, regulators, industry leaders, academics, civil society, and technology innovators. Now, as you heard, I am the chair of the board of the Africa Digital Rights Hub. Now, this is an organization which is a not-for-profit think and action tank based in Ghana, dedicated to advancing research, capacity building, and advocacy on digital rights across the continent. Our mission is to understand the impact of emerging technologies on people living in Africa, and to ensure that Africans are empowered, protected, and fully integrated into the global digital landscape. At ADRH, we bring together researchers, policymakers, regulators, regional bodies, and international partners to develop Afrocentric solutions grounded in research, evidence, dialogue, and collaboration. Our work is driven by an urgent imperative, namely, Africa must not remain a passive consumer of digital technologies, but an active co-creator, agenda setter, and partner in shaping global digital systems. The Data Protection Africa Summit is therefore one of ADRH's awareness creation and capacity building initiatives in building a vibrant, coordinated, and resilient privacy and data protection ecosystem. So now let me comment on why privacy and data protection matters. We are living in a time when personal data has become one of the most valuable assets in the digital economy. Technologies that access, analyze, and use personal data are evolving at extraordinary speed. Yet, with this remarkable progress comes significant risk. Unauthorized, negligent, or uninformed data processing can cause tremendous harm, not only to individuals, but to communities, to corporations, and even to governments. This is why privacy and data protection are not simply technical or regulatory issues. They are fundamental human rights, or they affect fundamental human rights. Data protection exists to safeguard the dignity, freedoms, and autonomy of individuals in a world where digital footprints are constantly expanding. Protecting personal data is therefore essential to building trust, enabling innovation, and ensuring that technology serves peoples and not the other way around. So this is Africa's strategic moment. Africa today stands at a pivotal crossroads. Data has become the core commodity of global digital trade. Yet, many countries on the continent remain at different stages of regulatory and institutional readiness. To transition from consumerism to partnership, Africa must strengthen capacity, harmonize frameworks, scale innovation, and ensure that data government systems reflect our realities, priorities, and values. As global data protection norms expand, whether inspired by continental frameworks or global standards like the GDPR, Africa must approach engagement with confidence and agency. Our solutions must be contextual, homegrown, and future-oriented. This is why this year's theme, namely defining Africa's digital future from consumerism to partnership, challenges us to think beyond adoption and compliance towards co-creation, mutual accountability, and strategic collaboration. It calls on us to reimagine Africa's place in the global digital economy, not as passive users of technology, but as equal partners and innovators. Over the next 2 days, you will have the opportunity to learn, share insights, exchange best practices, and propose practical solutions to build a robust and inclusive data governance environment. Let us use this opportunity to strengthen networks, deepen partnerships, and unlock new possibilities for Africa's digital future. And while at it, you are also encouraged to take some time off to enjoy Ghana and the Ghanaian hospitality, which is famous. I'm informed you will also have the opportunity on Thursday to visit some of the historical and ecotourism sites. These tours are not simply social activities or moments of leisure. They are strategically crafted to immerse participants in the rich, diverse, and dynamic facets of Ghana. Together, let us define, not inherit, the digital destiny of our continent. Thank you so much, and welcome once again to our land. I thank you.
Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Professor Justice Databa is a man that we revere and admire a lot in this land. He's taught law, I think, since 69 to about 84 and beyond. Served as a justice of our Supreme Court and currently helping ADRH put its best foot forward. Thank you, sir, and God bless you. The idea of the Data Protection Africa Summit was born sometime late in 2017. And the passion that inspired it was one that also respected collaboration. So every time the Data Protection Africa Summit has made a stop anywhere, that collaboration first starts with that country's data protection regulator. And so with that, I'd like you all, with a round of applause, help me welcome the Executive Director of the Data Protection Commission of Ghana, Dr. Arnold Carver-Poor.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I noticed we're just back from lunch, so the Honorable Minister, Honorable Samuel Nati George, Minister of Communications, Digital Technology, Innovation, and MP for the good people of Ningo Pram Pram. Distinguished regulators, representatives of government, industry, and civil society, esteemed speakers, and delegates from across Africa and beyond, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Republic of Ghana, it is my great honor to welcome you to Accra for the 2025 Data Protection Africa Summit. This year's theme, Defining Africa's Digital Future, from consumerism to partnership, engage, empower, evolve, captures a profound shift that is already underway. Africa is moving from being a passive consumer of global technologies to playing an active role and strategic role in building the digital systems, standards, and safeguards that will define the next generation of innovation. Here in Ghana, data protection is now a central pillar of our national digital transformation. Our progress, whether in strengthening compliance structures, modernizing our public digital infrastructure, or embedding privacy safeguards across health, education, finance, and emerging technologies, reflects a clear conviction. Innovation must be built on trust, and trust must be built on rights. Over the past year, the Data Protection Commission has worked deliberately and consistently to reinforce these foundations. We launched a nationwide privacy awareness campaign. This campaign has been especially meaningful because it is not just a communicative initiative, it's deeply personal. We built it around a powerful message. Privacy is personal. And because privacy is personal, privacy is everyone's responsibility. Whether as businesses collecting data, parents guiding their children online, developing writing code, or citizens making everyday digital decisions, each of us has a duty to safeguard the dignity, security, and rights of individuals. This campaign is helping to make privacy a cultural value, not just a requirement. This year, Ghana also gained a significant opportunity to shape the global data governance agenda. The Data Protection Commission of Ghana was officially admitted into the Data Sharing Public Good Working Group during the Global Privacy Assembly in Seoul, South Korea in September of this year. We intend to use this platform to deepen Ghana's contribution to global taking on ethical data use to strengthen frameworks for responsible and secure data sharing, and to champion models that ensure data is used for public goods while protecting individual rights. Our partnership in this working group positions Ghana to influence international standards and to bring home best practices that will enhance our own digital governance systems. Later this week, we plan to introduce Ghana's Privacy Seal, a national trust mark designed not only to recognize organizations that meet high standards of compliance, but also to empower citizens to insist that their personal data is handled only by entities that are duly registered and compliant. In November, the Commission published an enforcement notice in the national dailies directing all entities operating without full registration to regularize their status with the Data Protection Commission. Beginning January, we'll roll out a comprehensive enforcement exercise to identify data controllers in breach of the Data Protection Act, Act 2012, Act 843, and ensure that appropriate sanctions are applied. This marks a new chapter of firm, fair, and consistent regulatory actions to safeguard the rights of citizens and uphold the integrity of Ghana's digital ecosystem. This year, we place strong emphasis on capacity building and public engagement. We trained over 800 certified data protection officers. We achieved more than 100% increase in completed data protection impact assessments. And by November last month, we had surpassed the total number of registered data controllers of all 2024. These initiatives underline a crucial truth. Trust is built not by institutions alone, but by a prepared and responsible ecosystem. That is why we intentionally strengthen collaborations with industry and professionals by supporting the establishment of the Ghana Association of Privacy Professionals, GAP. We view GAP and all ecosystem actors as partners in building trustworthy digital society. We call on them to be active contributors to our progress and equally to be critical observers of our blind spots. These dual roles strengthen accountability, insight, and innovation. To ensure Ghana remains ahead of emerging risks and opportunities, we are undertaking a comprehensive review of the Data Protection Act, Act 843. This review will modernize our regulatory frameworks to address the realities of AI, big data, cross-border data flows, and digital identity ecosystems. In doing so, we affirm our strong support for the Honorable Minister's vision to positioning Ghana as the AI hub for Africa. Even as we celebrate this progress, we must recognize what is at stake. The greatest risk we face if we fail is the loss of public trust. If citizens cannot trust the digital ecosystem we are building, then AI, digital payments, digital health, e-government, everything will struggle to take root. Innovation will slow, investment will decline, our sovereignty as African states will weaken, and most vulnerable amongst us will face the highest risks of exploitations. This is why our work is so important. We are not simply enforcing compliance. We are protecting dignity, we are building trust, we are safeguarding sovereignty, because nations that cannot control their data cannot control their destiny. And I want all of us, regulators, industry, civil society, technologists, to begin to see the Commission not merely as enforcers, but as partners and nation builders. We stand ready to work with all of you to build an Africa where citizens can use digital services willingly, confidently, and without fear. We are grateful to the Africa Digital Rights Hub partners, speakers, and delegates who have shaped this summit. Our hope is that during this time, you will use it as an opportunity to work with each other and leave Ghana inspired by what Africa can achieve when we work together. Once again, Akwaba. You are warmly welcome to Ghana. We wish you a productive, engaging, and transformative summit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kavapour. In the spirit of collaboration, we'll call on a couple of representatives of organizations who are partnering the Data Protection Africa Summit this year to share quick words of solidarity. Help me welcome the head of Data Policy, Data Governance in Africa Initiative under the GIZ Africa Union Office, Dr. Dominic Orr.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thank you very much again for already a very, very interesting summit that we're here enjoying. The slogan for this summit is engage, empower, and evolve. I think we found this morning that those are really, really key words, and they're things that we're trying to support through the Team Europe initiative called Data Governance in Africa, and today we're here representing the GIZ AU office with our focus on supporting data governance policies across the continent. Currently, we're supporting 22 countries. We're also working with 3 RECs. In each case, we're trying to support the development of inclusive policies based on collaboration and multi-stakeholder discussions, with the aim that we can create an equal playing field across the continent and to really benefit from a vibrant and inclusive data economy. Please do come and join our discussion this afternoon at 5:30. We're doing a session where we want to kind of exactly focus on this multi-stakeholder discussion, in this case around data protection and cross-border data sharing. I think we've already noticed there are many discussions to be had, and I think that's why we're all here at the moment. And maybe the last thing, there's one more E I'd like to emphasize, which is I hope everyone enjoys the summit. Thank you very much.
Well, I can assure you that if you join us on the beach for the networking cocktail, you would have summed up your enjoyment properly on day one. So thanks very much, Dr. Orr, for reminding us that beyond engagement, we should enjoy. Yeah. I'd like to now call on our second partner, and as a man that you've actually seen speak today. And maybe I didn't take my time to tell you who he is, but he's Senior Director of Data Privacy Policy and Regulation at GSMA. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Norzwadi Ismail.
Thank you very much, Mr. MC, Honorable Minister, and also the Chair of the ADRC, esteemed partners, and importantly, Africa. So GSMA has been engaging with a variety of stakeholders ranging from the government, policymakers, regulators, members who are mobile network operators, and as well as the wider digital ecosystem since 1987. So throughout our engagement, Africa is a very important continent for the GSMA. The reason is because by 2063, we really want to see Africa shine, Africa thrive, and the current youth in Africa who will be the future leaders will take on the baton and really engage on smart data privacy implementation and also work together collaboratively in the context of the digital ecosystem. Within the GSMA, we have been engaging a variety of stakeholders, regulators in Africa. Last year, we did around 20 listening exercise to understand what exactly the challenges on the ground and what exactly that we can bridge the conversation, not only in the context of the mobile industry, but the ecosystem. Throughout this particular important summit, of course, kudos to Techie. I know she's super working very hard. Please give an applause to her. And also the partners as well, because we have been demanding quite a lot prior to the particular summit. But importantly, please engage with us. We do have a booth throughout the summit, and feed us with African use cases. We want more use cases from Africa. We want more data set from Africa so that we can shape and facilitate the conversation between the mobile network operators, between the government, policymakers, and consumers. Again, thanks very much, and please enjoy, this summit and engage with us informally, not too formal. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Norris Wadi. He emphasized again that you should enjoy the summit. Again, I'm reminding you that at 7 p.m. this evening, we will be right on the beach. Actually, when you return, right opposite this venue is a set of steps. You walk up and you'll find us there. There'll be music and lots to drink and eat and a lot of networking to be done. Just remember to leave your shoes. Just come wearing some flip-flops and roll up your trousers and let's have a good time. I just want to show you what a good time looks like. So with a round of applause, please welcome the Noyam Dance Institute for a performance. Thank you to the Noyam Dance Institute. And the word Noyam means progress in the Dangbe language. And if you engage and you leave empowered, evolution will take place. That's progress. So it's definitely in line with why we're here. Well, it's time for us to receive the keynote address from our guest of honor. He's a man who was born in Somanya, but is from Old Ningo. I think the town is called Amiam. Let me tread cautiously. I think I've given out too much information, most of which is publicly available, so I'm excused by that. But a man that we fight, we make up, but we're very, very good friends. And so you can tell I'm finding it very difficult to actually have a game face on to do the introduction. But our speaker, our guest of honor, is a Ghanaian politician. He currently is serving as the Minister of Communications, Digital Technologies and Innovation. He is on the ticket of the National Democratic Congress, a party that he has served faithfully for a very long time, rising through many different positions. First, in 2016, I believe, is when he first was elected to represent the people of Ningo Pram Pram. Subsequently risen to be a substantive minister and has been very, very, very busy. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the minister, the Arsenal fan, the the advocate of digital inclusion and innovation, Mr. Samuel Nate George.
Please be seated, please. There's usually a warning that I issue to Inshira, but being in front of Justice Databa and data protection commissioners, I'm very careful lest I'm told that I'm abusing my power as minister. Because normally I say to him that if he doesn't behave himself, I will forward the text messages from his side chick to his wife. Now the question will be, am I a licensed data provider or processor to have access to his data? So I'm not issuing that warning today. But I can't help but call you, Your Lordship, Justice Databa. Massive respect to you, sir, for what you've done, to representatives of the Africa Union and regional economic communities, boards and heads of data protection authorities and regulatory institutions, the chair and board members of the Africa Digital Rights Hub, captains of industry and chief executives, development partners and sponsors of the summit, representatives of civil society organizations and academia, members of the media, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. Forgive me if I am a bit lethargic. Teki is one of the few people who can do this to me. I literally just arrived from Baku, Azerbaijan, flew through Dubai, got to the airport, didn't even get my bag, and I was pulled straight here. And so I chose to come lest Teki issues me a data protection fine. But I'm here not just representing myself. His Excellency the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was supposed to be here, and he's asked that I represent him. So as I read the speech that's been prepared, all the positive things are attributed to His Excellency the President. The gaffes are mine. The boss makes no mistake. And so it's my honor and privilege on behalf of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, the government and the people of Ghana, to welcome you to the 2025 Data Protection Africa Summit. We're truly delighted to host this distinguished roster of leaders, experts, innovators, and partners to shape the future of digital governance on our continent. Let me begin by warmly acknowledging the data protection regulators and supervisory authorities who've traveled from across the continent and beyond. Your dedication to strengthening Africa's privacy and data protection landscape is invaluable, and we are honored by your presence. I also extend Ghana's sincere appreciation to the organizers, the partners, and supporting organizations, especially the Africa Digital Rights Hub, the Data Protection Commission of Ghana, sponsors, regional institutions, and all those who have contributed to making this event possible. Your collective support reflects a shared commitment to advancing Africa's digital transformation, embodying the spirit of this year's theme, defining Africa's digital future through partnership, ownership, and collaboration. This is a summit that's designed for everyone, and I'm delighted to note that this year's summit has been intentionally curated to holistically cater to the needs of all the stakeholders in Africa's digital ecosystem. Whether you are a regulator shaping legal frameworks, a policymaker crafting digital strategies, entrepreneurs or innovators building solutions, academic who is producing research, a civil society advocate who is defending rights, or a citizen seeking inclusion and accountability, this summit, as seen in this rich program of masterclasses, regulator updates, keynote conversations, and dialogues on digital sovereignty, identity management, child protection, and cross-border data flows, provides precisely the platform that Africa needs at this moment of global transformation. I must also recognize that Africa's digital future cannot be shaped in isolation. It requires a multi-stakeholder, multidisciplinary, people-centered approach where every voice matters and every perspective enriches our shared understanding. The question is, why does this moment matter? Distinguished guests, Africa stands at a pivotal moment in history. Technology is reshaping governance, commerce, education, health, security, and social interaction. Data has become the backbone of modern economies, and digital platforms now influence every aspect of our lives. Yet this moment presents both opportunities and risk. Without robust governance frameworks, digital transformation will exacerbate existing inequalities. And without trust, adoption will stall. Without the rights protections, innovation will become harmful. This summit's theme, defining Africa's digital future from consumerism to partnership, reminds us that Africa must no longer be defined as a passive consumer of global technologies. Africa must be a partner in creation. We must be a contributor to global standards. We must be a negotiator of his interest. We must be a protector of our own people, and we must be a builder of our own technological destiny. Ghana's vision for digital transformation under President John Dramani Mahama is very clear. In Ghana, this transition from consumerism to partnership is already underway. It's underway through a bold and comprehensive national digital transformation agenda guided by the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation. Allow me to highlight key pillars of our national commitment. 1, modernizing digital policy and regulation. We're updating Ghana's ICT and digital governance laws to ensure they remain relevant, responsive, and aligned with new and emerging technologies. And recently I was in Cape Town and Minister Soli Matlasi was telling me that South Africa is going to look at what we're doing and see how well they can build on it, because we've put out 15 new digital legislation at the same time, and we're working on them collectively. I mean, it sounds like the work of a madman, but I think I'm a certified lunatic. Our regulatory institutions are being strengthened to support innovation while ensuring safety, fairness, and accountability. 2, expanding infrastructure and digital inclusion. We continue to invest in our broadband expansion, rural telephony, and community digital inclusion initiatives. And I'm sure the GSMA will be happy to hear that. Our goals are clear. No Ghanaian should be left behind, regardless of your geography, your income, or your gender. 3, we're scaling e-government and digital public services. We're accelerating the digitization of government services to enhance efficiency, reduce corruption, improve transparency, and make public services more accessible to citizens and businesses. 4, responsible adoption of emerging technologies. We're developing strategic frameworks to guide the ethical and secure use of artificial intelligence, big data, and other frontier technologies. Our approach prioritizes safety, human rights, fairness, and local relevance. And if you want to see what we're doing in that area, please visit the ministry's website. We've put out our draft legislation on emerging technologies. We're setting up an Emerging Technologies Council, and the whole legislation has been put out for that. Your input is welcome as we go through the legislative process in Parliament. 5, strengthening trust and data protection. Data protection is the anchor of our digital agenda. We remain committed to strengthening compliance, awareness, institutional capabilities, and enforcement mechanisms to build a trusted digital ecosystem. And Mr. CEO of Data Protection, I was just telling your board chair, Teki, that next year, by the time we pass the new legislation to upgrade you from a commission to an authority, as ministry, we'll want to see a lot more enforcement, not by way of fines, but by way of compliance. So drive more compliance to ensure that we have more people compliant with data protection. 6, empowering skills, innovation, and entrepreneurship. We're investing in digital skills training, youth innovation, startup support, and entrepreneurial ecosystems, ensuring that Ghanaians are not only users of technology, but creators of solutions. The Ghana government under President Mahama has our flagship 1 Million Coders initiative, which is empowering Ghanaians with the skills of the future. 7, supporting innovation and SMEs. Startups and SMEs are the heart of the AFCFTA's digital promise. Ghana is also supporting tech entrepreneurs, innovation hubs, and digital talent pipelines so that our youth become creators and exporters rather than mere consumers of digital solutions. One of the legislation, the 15 legislation I spoke about, is the Innovation and Startup Bill, which when passed into law, will strengthen the ecosystem and put in place the framework for accentuating innovation and attracting investments. Colleagues, we cannot overstate that data protection is not an obstacle to digital transformation, it is its foundation. Innovation without privacy safeguards erodes trust. Digital systems without accountability create vulnerability, and technological expansions without rights protection undermine dignity. Data protection is therefore central to 1, building trust, 2, enabling responsible innovation, 3, empowering citizens, and 4, securing long-term digital prosperity. Distinguished guests, Africa stands at the threshold of unprecedented economic opportunities under the AFTA protocol. But with the operationalization of AFTA, and crucially the adoption of the AFTA protocol on digital trade, we're entering a new era where digital trade, data flows, cross-border services, and technology-led commerce will define the continent's economic growth. However, we must confront a fundamental truth. Africa cannot build a thriving digital market if we remain mere consumers of externally developed technologies, standards, and narratives. The solution to Africa's problems are here in Accra, they're in Cape Town, they're in Luanda, they're in Kigali. They're not sitting in Silicon Valley or in China. Africa's future demands that Africa becomes a creator of digital values, a custodian of its own data, a negotiator of its interests, a designer of its own systems, and a full and equal partner in global digital trade. Because even as President Mahama is Africa's champion for reparations on slave trade and the effects of colonialism, I am deeply worried about a new version of colonialism, data colonization. And if Africa doesn't wake up, we'll be talking reparations in 2063 after all of our data has been colonized. We better wake up. And this is exactly what the AFTA Digital Trade Protocol envisions. It is where the role of data protection becomes indispensable. This is why Ghana, through the Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovation, is taking bold steps to harmonize our data sets, annotate them properly, and secure these data sets and the protocols around access to them through yet another legislation we are sponsoring, the Data Harmonization Bill. So you see that it's quite a number of bills we're working on, but it's to give us the strength in our ecosystem. Digital trade does not happen in cyberspace alone. It happens in an environment of trust. Trust that data will be handled responsibly, that rights will be protected, that our systems are secure, and that cross-border data flows will be governed fairly. Without robust data protection frameworks, e-commerce cannot scale, fintechs cannot expand, cross-border identity verification cannot function. You cannot have digital payment systems that will be trusted, and our consumers will simply not participate in the ecosystem. Therefore, ensuring privacy and data protection is not an administrative necessity, it's actually an economic enabler and the backbone of AFTA's digital ambitions. The AFTA Digital Trade Protocol requires that we move from fragmented country-by-country approaches to a harmonized African digital market. This means that we need to adopt interoperable privacy data protection standards. We must strengthen cross-border enforcement cooperation, enable seamless digital identity systems, create a trusted environment for cross-border data flows, build digital financial systems that work across borders, and support Africa's digital enterprises to scale continentally. Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin this summit, and I should have read this yesterday, so I'm saying as we begin this summit, but yesterday I wasn't in town, so as we continue this summit, I invite all stakeholders to embrace a shared responsibility. Let us strengthen data protection laws and regional harmonization. Let us invest in cross-border cooperation and regulatory capacity. Let us promote inclusive digital literacy and citizen awareness. Let us support ethical and responsible innovation. Let us foster deeper public-private partnerships, and let's champion African-led policy, research, and standard setting. Africa does not have to inherit its digital future. Africa can define it, Africa can design it, and Africa can lead it. Ghana is showing the way by publishing our draft legislation for stakeholder input, but also to allow our brothers and sisters on the continent to benchmark and build synergies with what we're doing here. Now I have a call to action. Let's engage, let's empower, and let's evolve. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa's digital future will not be delivered by chance. It will be built through deliberate choices, responsible leadership, and collaboration across borders. It's my fervent hope that this summit becomes a turning point, a moment where regulators, policymakers, civil society, private sector, academia, and innovators will commit to a shared vision. A vision where Africa's citizens own and control their data. Our data is not sitting in public clouds hosted in Northern Ireland. I haven't mentioned anybody's name. Where African governments can protect rights without stifling innovation and killing our own innovators. Where African businesses can scale using trusted interoperable systems. Where digital health, identity, finance, education, and governance become engines of inclusive growth. That's the Africa I foresee. An Africa which evolves from passive digital consumers to active digital partners. I've spoken for a very long time, typical of a politician. But in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Ghana is honored to host this gathering of visionaries and change makers. We believe deeply in Africa's digital potential, and we are committed to playing our part in shaping a future defined by partnership, innovation, and shared prosperity. Let this summit inspire us to think boldly, collaborate deeply, and act decisively. Africa's digital future is ours to shape. The AFTA and AU provide a blueprint. A strong privacy and data protection ecosystem creates the foundation, and partnership will fuel the power. With the right policies, capacity, collaboration, and leadership, Africa can emerge not as a passive recipient of global technology trend, but as an active partner, creator, and leader in the global digital economy. Ghana stands ready to work with all of you to make this vision a reality. Together, let us build an Africa where digital transformation uplifts every citizen, where rights are protected, innovation flourishes, and no one is left behind. In the spirit of the two speakers before me who asked you to enjoy, on behalf of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, I warmly welcome you once again to the gateway to Africa and urge you not to just deliberate on the issues of data protection at this summit, but explore Accra and our surrounding cities. Immerse yourself in the beauty tapestry of this golden land. savor our culinary delicacies, enjoy our rich culture, and definitely take home with you a piece of Kwame Nkrumah and John Mahama's Ghana. Thank you. And once again, let me say Mohe, Obake, Akwaba, Wezon, Maraba, and welcome again to Ghana, the golden gateway to Africa. Thank you.
A round of applause for the Honorable Minister. So, see, now you have a policy directive from the minister to enjoy. So, make sure you are at the cocktail. It's a networking cocktail. I don't see it happening any better way with our feet firmly planted in the beautiful sands of the Atlantic coast. You do know you are closest to the center of the world from here. So if you're not there, you're missing out. And you never know. His colleague, the Minister of Interior, might decide that there's a curfew, and then we'll all get to stay in Ghana for another month. So if you don't show up, then you might get stuck in Ghana. But I urge you all to come out. Let's have a good time. The real work, I believe, is not going to start in this room. This is where we get our marching orders. But when we have conversations out of this room is when we actually initiate progress. So let's see you out there later. I'm at the point of the day that I enjoy the most, and I'll explain why. It is the time of the day where I get to show that I have a little bit of power, and that power is to request, take note, request, not to order, request that the minister comes back to the stage, even though he left a minute ago. And then I will ask the speakers, moderators from the earlier panel and the future panels, let's all gather here and take a group photograph. So, you know, a little bit of power to ask the minister to come back to the stage, you know. A round of applause as they come back, please. Yeah, and the regulators here present, please join us. Yeah, we'll have some. So, Minister, you stay on the front, and then we'll have some join at on the stage at the back. So, speakers, moderators, and regulators, please join us. So, some of you come up. Yeah, you can come up on the stage. Yeah, we can have like 2 rows. Okay, wonderful. Wonderful. Yeah, just stay right here. We're good? Wonderful. And one with the board of ADRH. So DPC, the minister, so DPC, don't go too far. You can join this one and then the...